Welcome to Cashflow. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create invoices. There are three ways in the software to create an invoice. Firstly, on the dashboard, on the top right hand side, you've got the option to create an invoice, so you can just click into there quickly from this screen and it will take you through straight to the invoicing module. The other way to do it is just to click on Invoices on the left hand side of the screen, and once we're in here, we can then create an invoice directly from here. The third way is when we're in the customer module, we can actually pick a customer, and then once we've done that, we've got the option to create an invoice from the customer screen. If we create an invoice from the customer screen, we will see that it will default to the customer record once we've done that, rather than opening up our customer list. So to create an invoice then, all we need to do is use one of those three ways. It will automatically create invoice number 1. So if this is the first invoice and you're a startup business, then you can leave it as 1. Alternatively, if you've been using other types of software or an Excel-based system, you may want to actually start your invoice number from where you've left off. So I can just go and renumber that, whatever I want, and then my next invoice number I create will be number 251. As you can see, our customer record has come through and it's brought through our customer's address onto the invoice. I can use a different delivery address if I wish to, and I can type into that any other address I want to. We can also type in a purchase order number if there's a reference that you may have within here. It will bring through the issue date, so the issue date of the invoice, so we can choose that, and the due date for me is 28 days from the time of issuing. In your business it might be 30 days, it might be payment on receipt, so you can just change that and the due date within the system. And you can then choose the default currency. So obviously our default currency is British pounds. To add information onto this invoice, all I need to do is just click on Add Line Item. And we can see I can add as many lines as I want in here, and all I need to type is anything I want, so the work that we actually did. And then we can put a date in there. And then I can put a rate, so if I put a rate in here, let's say it was 500, we can see it's going to calculate the VAT, it's going to add that in, and it's going to put in my gross total. Alternatively, if you actually want to work from the gross, so if I just type in here again, we're just going to put work carried out, and I'm just going to put the 7th of the 8th. If I actually go to the end in here and put 700, it's going to calculate the VAT and it's going to calculate the net value in there as well. So you can just work off the gross total if you prefer working that way. Once you've done that and created the invoice, all you need to do is just click Save in the top right hand side of the screen. Once that invoice has been saved into the system, you will see the status of that invoice is unpaid. If you now click into the Invoices module on the left hand side, you will see that invoice, you will see the customer, you will see any purchase order number, when it was issued, when it was due, the amount and the status of that invoice. We can then click into that invoice from here and it will give us a couple more options. If you need to make any amendments to the invoice, you can just click the Edit button at the top of the screen. If we click on Edit, it's now opened up that invoice for us to make any changes. So I can just go in, I'm going to change a value and then save it back up again. And that save has now been carried out on the invoice. We've also got the option to copy that invoice. So if you do a lot of repeat invoicing, a lot of repeat work for your clients, so a lot of your invoices look the same, if I just go to the copy option, I can now copy that into a new invoice. So if I click invoice in here, this is now going to create invoice number 251, and we can see all of the details on the invoice are the same. However, I might say it was for a different customer and choose a different customer record. And now we can see that invoice has been duplicated, and when I go to the invoice screen on the left hand side, both of those invoices are there for different customers, and that was really easy to quickly change that and duplicate it. So if we just click into the invoice again, we will see at the bottom of the screen we've got the option to email or print that off. So if I go to print, this is now just going to open up that invoice as a PDF document, and you can see I've put my company logo in here, it's brought through my address and my email and phone number, and it's also brought through the client details as well. And I can just print that off and I can create a professionally looking invoice. Alternatively, I could email it. So if I just click on the email button, it will bring up the client's email address automatically, and I can customize what these templates look like and what they say. And the invoice will just attach as a PDF document rather than me having to print it off. They will just receive that on their inbox, which they can view on any PC, tablet or mobile device. At the bottom of the screen you have the option to add a payment or do refunds. So if I want to add a payment and this customer's paid me, I can just click on add payment, and then I can put in the date of the payment. We can put in the value. If it was a part payment or a deposit, we can key that in here, which bank account it's gone into, the payment method of how they're paying us, so they're paying us cash, and I can make a note on here on invoice 250 and press save. The status of that invoice is now changed to paid within the software. So if we go to the invoice module on the left hand side, we can now see we've got one invoice that's unpaid and one invoice that has been paid. And if we go to the customer screen on the left hand side, we can actually see we have an outstanding balance in here. If we actually click into the customer record and go through to the invoices screen, we can see that that invoice has been paid. Again, I can drill into that at any point and make any amendments I wish to. If we go to our front dashboard on the left hand side, we will now see when we log in here that we have a value in our current account, because our payment on the invoice went into our current account, so I've been paid 1,250 and I've still got an outstanding invoice 1,250 in here. So everything is going to record within Cashflow, and that's how easy it is to create invoices using our software.